Dave, you've been having so much fun here with Hudson and creating hockey memories. What was your first?
Playing hockey on the pond on every rain.
There you go. We haven't talked to his agent, and Carlos has been behind. He's anxious to go and see him. We're going to get back after the break with some fans and some players who are here in fans.
Brought to you in part by Fitness Depot Ottawa, your exercise equipment superstore. The guy that has the money makes all the rules. That's how it works.
If you want to swim with the sharks, you're not going to use my 1.5 million to become an overnight success.
I feel particularly resistant and closed-minded.
Hated it.
Be prepared
You want to sell something or do you not? You don't have any orders.
for the choppy waters.
Gave up on the dream just like that.
You had the deal, you blew it. Apparently you're not the world's best salesman.
CTV Shark Tank, tonight at 8, 7 Central.
Paddle shifters propel the new Hyundai Veloster 6-speed EcoShift dual-clutch transmission. Two electronically controlled clutches shift gears in mere fractions of a second, delivering sportier performance and better fuel efficiency. It's just one of the engineering advances we brought from our test facility to yours. Introducing the Veloster from Hyundai.
Amity Glass has built their reputation as a leader in glass products. From personalized home designs to custom-fitted glass for tabletops. From bath and shower enclosures to decorative glass for cabinets.
Do not have to be found as principals in the commission of murder, but if they aided or abetted with the intent to do so, then they are guilty of first-degree murder. He also told the jury that if they found that there was no intent, the jury should consider second-degree murder charges for any of the three accused. He will continue making his instructions throughout the rest of the day before the jury will finally be sequestered to deliberate. Dan Halton, CBC News, Kingston.
After an explosion that killed 2 workers and sent 19 people to the hospital, people in Burns Lake, BC could use some good news. Last week's blast destroyed the local sawmill, and many workers are anxious to gain some assurances from the provincial government. The CBC is following that story. Tim.
Carol, this initiative is really to try and build an economic lifeline for the community. The province is calling it actually the Rapid Recovery Team. He's a man with years of forestry experience, and he especially concentrated on the pine beetle. And this is perhaps key because so much of the northern forest has been devastated by the pine beetle epidemic. So he's the one person who's going to step in and try and assure, or at least look at the possibility of what sort of timber supply is possible. And with that, they'll go back to Hampton Affiliates, the owners of the mill, and look at the possibility of having that mill in Burns Lake reopen. It was the town's biggest employer, so this is really seen as quite critical. But at the same time, other government officials are looking at other possibilities, especially looking at some other communities that are within commuting distance of Burns Lake, other mills, other mines, those kinds of things. They're really opening up the doors to all kinds of other businesses, saying that if you do need any sort of construction work or work done, then certainly Burns Lake has the possibility to offer some workers who could use a hand.
Okay, what's the latest on the investigation?
NHL game Sunday.
As a terrifying massacre. Across the country, dozens killed, including children. All of this as UNICEF comes out with the latest figures on how many children have been killed in the 10-month crackdown in Syria. Andrew Nichols is tracking the latest developments. He joins me now. Andrew.
And Carol, as we often have to say whenever we cover these stories, these statistics, these numbers of those who have been killed are hard for us to verify because of the lack of Western journalists in Syria. We did have some CBC journalists there a while ago, but these latest ones hard for us to verify. But we are being told that Bashar al-Assad's security forces killed at least 30 people today, including women and children, in it. That as of January 7th, 384 children have been killed, completely closed, including some neighborhoods in parts of Homs, which has seen the responses to the Assad regime, namely Russia.
UNICEF, of course, which looks after children.
Justice and that the proper care has been killed in the government's crackdown since last March.
Andrew, thank you. To Egypt now, where thousands of protesters have gathered in Tahrir Square today, demanding the military hand over power now. They chanted slogans against the army. Protesters are calling this demonstration the Day of Wrath. They want the ruling Supreme Council of the Armed Forces to speed up the transfer of power to civilians. Muslim Brotherhood was banned under the former regime, but it won 46% of the seats in Parliament in pre-elections in the fall. The television
Spicier, more dynamic Romney decisions, and won a lot of different media in various parts of the state. Early polls seem to indicate that people seem to be responding.
Okay, c'est à manger, Antoine. On va se préparer à... Tu peux venir choisir laquelle que tu veux. Prends trop de temps, c'est moi qui vais choisir pour nous autres. Yes! Personal best.
Newt Gingrich to the working class Republican.
Ok, je veux rien savoir de ça.
free for 30 days.
Every part of our economy. The oil sands alone are responsible for close to 400,000 direct and indirect jobs in skilled trades, manufacturing, clerical jobs, the financial sector, everywhere. And according to the Canadian Energy Research Institute, if you include proposed pipeline expansion and projected increase in oil production, the oil sands will support, on average, 700,000 jobs across Canada over the next 25 years on an annual basis. Most analysts would say about 30 Research Institute, we know the pipelines that carry Canadian oil and gas to North American markets are in effect a separate industry in themselves, as well as major generators of significant economic, particularly the pipelines. Government revenues. $22 billion a year to help pay for everything, from education and healthcare to roads and bridges. The economic spin-offs of the energy sector truly support the quality of life of all Canadians, based on the West Coast. That's just oil. The expanding economies of Asia are obvious markets. Joy today is in based products. Duplication, there definitely flies in. These are just